happiness. So, what happens on the days we can't really find happiness? So, I got an email from someone who, well, have you ever heard of the children's book, Alexander and the Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Day? Yeah, she's having one of those. And we all have. And they're especially challenging at certain times of year, right? So I just wanted to address this to her. God bless you, dear one. I'm going to tell you two quick stories. The first one is of a woman named Byron Katie, who is one of my favorite authors. And I'll talk about her a lot in the future. But Byron Katie was overweight. She had lots of issues. And so she kept going to places to try and get fixed. And the 14th place that she went to try and get fixed for her addictions, the women couldn't stand her. They couldn't stand her so much that they said, no one is willing to sleep with her. They went to the head mistress and said, none of us are going to sleep with her share a room with her. So get her out of here. Well, they sent her up to the bed in the attic. And Byron Katie went up to the bed in the attic, but she loathed herself so much that she wouldn't sleep in the bed. So she slept on the floor in the attic, on the wooden floor in the attic, loathing herself. And the next morning, a miracle occurred. She woke up with no judgment, no judgment. And if you followed anything of Byron Katie's, and I hope you have, but if not, we'll cover it on this channel. She teaches how to live without judgment of ourselves, other people, or situations. It's so powerful. But her suffering ended that day. Her self-loathing ended with a shift in thought. And the other story I want to share with you is about a gentleman, again, one of my favorite teachers, by the name of Eckhart Tolle, who I was so blessed to spend an entire day with in a small group of 20 people years ago. But let me just read you some of his quotes, because he too was depressed, on the verge of suicide, just really, really at his low point, when he asked himself a question. But let me share these quotes. Sometimes surrender means giving up trying to understand and becoming comfortable with not knowing. Another of my favorite quotes: suffering begins when we mentally label a situation as bad. When you let it be without naming it, enormous power is available to you, the power of life itself. In other words, when we can stand back and witness. So Tolle said, when I was loathing myself, I was loathing myself. There were two of us, right? There was the myself that I loathed, but there was the I that was the witness. And I realized that when I became present to myself, I became the I. I became the witness to my life. And I was the stirrer of the stew, not the stew itself, not in the stew. Huh? Powerful. Another quote from Tolle: if you had not suffered as you had, there would be no depth to you, no humility, and no compassion. So again, what happened to Eckhart was one evening, at the depths of his despair, he cried out, and all of a sudden he saw that he had a choice. And we all have that choice. This too shall pass, but it will pass in a more full and beautiful way when we can step back and see that all of life is transient, that our goodness never changes. Our innate goodness never changes, no matter what happens to us, with us, from us, by us. None of that can affect the goodness of who we are. And when we can step back and take that deep breath, perhaps through tears are beautiful, holy water I call them, then we can embrace the present moment the presence, the power of now. And as Eckhart Tolle said, would you like it if I could solve all of your problems right now? And we all said, yes. And he said, well, here's the good news. You've never had a problem right now. All of your problems are in your past or your future. Dear ones, let's move into the now in 2025. This is M.K. Mueller, the author of 8 to Great, and I so love making these videos, and I'm going to continue to make a lot of them, so please subscribe if you haven't yet. Blessings.